And now it's time for Church Chat.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Church Chat. And we have with us today a butterfly expert and environmentalist, Val Wally. And she's going to tell us a bit about monarch butterflies and also a bit about the upcoming workshop we're going to have at St. John's on September 19th about butterflies. All right, so we're going to start with our territorial acknowledgement. The land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Wendat, the Anishinaabeg Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Mississauga of Scugog, Hiawatha, and Alderville First Nations, and the Métis Nation. This territory was the subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy and the Ojibwe and allied nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. The treaties were signed for this particular parcel of land are collectively referred to as the Williams Treaties of 1923. We offer our gratitude to the First Peoples for their care for and teachings about our earth and our relations. We honor those teachings and commit ourselves to live peaceably together in a spirit of respect and reconciliation. Well, we have Val Wally with us this morning, and I'd just like to introduce Val. Val is a former nurse. She also had a long career in workplace safety. She is a wife, a mother, and a grandmother. She's very active with her own parish, as well as with the diocese. She led a very successful online course last year called Journey to Jerusalem, and she's in her final year of the Education for Ministry program. And she's also a master gardener and a monarch enthusiast. So welcome to Church Chat, Val. It's really nice to have you here.
Well, thanks, Penny. It's really nice to be here and talk about monarchs because they're important.
So what got you started in the whole monarch business?
Well, a number of years ago, my parents had a visitor from England who was a real butterfly enthusiast, and he couldn't wait to see a monarch butterfly. In fact, every once in a while, apparently, monarchs do get carried by the winds to England, and he had traveled a couple of times to see some little battered monarch butterfly who had been flown on the wind to England. So when he came, he was here in July and early August, which is the time to see monarch butterflies, and they could not find a single butterfly or a single monarch for him to see. They came out to Presqu'île Park, where there's usually tons of butterflies. They went to Point Pelee, where there's usually tons of butterflies, and they couldn't find a single one. And that really disturbed me. A couple of years later, my son gave me a book for my birthday that was kind of a joke gift. It was called Raising Monarch Butterflies, a Step-by-Step Guide for Kids. Well, he should have known better, because I read it and it was really, really well done. And I will bring a copy of it to our workshop. And it gave really clear, concise instructions on how to raise monarch butterflies. And it also explained that for every 100 eggs that are laid, only about 10 actually make it to butterfly, if that. And I've looked at different statistics, and some say only 1 in 100. So the author of this book said, if you can raise 10 monarchs from egg to butterfly, that's probably 9 more than would have made it. So that appealed to me. So I went out and I started looking under leaves and finding eggs and tiny little caterpillars. And the first year, I think it was 6. And I was so happy that I raised 6 monarchs. And it's grown from then to be an obsession with monarchs. I also, I've always thought, like, I'm a gardener, as you said. I don't have any certificate that says I'm a master gardener, but I have nice gardens. And to me, the monarchs or the butterflies, not just monarchs, are are part of that. They're like flying flowers for me. It just puts the period at the, or the exclamation mark at the end of the garden sentence for me.
About how many years have you been actively grazing monarch butterflies?
Yeah. I was trying to determine that. It's somewhere around 8. It might even be 10, but I'm not sure. I keep really good journals now, but at the beginning I didn't, and so I have the numbers going back probably 4 or 5 years now.
I was doing some research for before our conversation today, and I came across some numbers. Like in 2013, they said that there was the lowest number of monarch butterflies in recorded history in 2013. And they were noting too that that milkweed was defined in Ontario as a noxious weed, and it was discouraged. So could you talk a little bit about the link between the milkweed and the butterflies?
Yes, absolutely. All butterflies, they lay their eggs on host plants. So a host plant is the only kind of plant that the caterpillar will eat. And so for a monarch butterfly, the only kind of plant that a caterpillar will eat is milkweed. And because milkweed was considered a noxious weed, people got rid of it indiscriminately. The other problem is that they need way stations. They go down to Mexico in the winter. And so when they're on the way back, they need way stations because they need to lay their eggs so the next generation can come a little further and lay their eggs so that eventually they come to Canada. And the problem is that agriculture has gotten so indiscriminate in their spraying that they've developed these herbicides that they spray the field and it kills everything in the field. And there's only one kind of crop then that can grow. So the herbicide is tied with a type of crop. And so it won't kill that crop, but it kills everything else. And so the way stations were being decimated. And so the monarchs, it doesn't matter how many milkweed we have in one area, the monarchs need milkweed throughout North America in order to survive. And it is important to have them here as well.
Okay. So you said that in the wild, like 1 out of 100 will actually produce, go from egg to monarch butterfly. Mm-hmm. Do you have any statistics on like how many of those monarch butterflies actually survive the migration to Mexico and back?
No, I don't have that, and I should find out, and maybe I will try and find out for the workshop. One of the things every year I say, maybe I should tag my butterflies, and I haven't. But there is a butterfly tagging system where they put little stickers on their wings, and they're able to fly, and so there have if say if I did tag it and it was found in Mexico, I would be contacted and said, "Oh, we found your butterfly in Mexico." So.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really, really cool. So, do you belong to any kind of an association or organization of monarch raisers? You're a lone wolf in the monarch.
And again, I keep thinking, oh, I should join something, but I haven't. No.
Now we're going to have a workshop at St. John's, as I said before, on September 19th at 10:30. And so you're going to talk to us a bit about the role of the monarchs and also raising monarchs. And I think a lot of people might be a little, feel it was a bit challenging to raise something as delicate as butterflies. And what has your experience been as sort of being a butterfly midwife?
You have to be careful. It's a commitment, so you don't just get a butterfly or a caterpillar, stick it in a jar and shove milkweed in once in a while. The crates have to be cleaned, or the container has to be cleaned regularly. I'm very meticulous. Maybe it's the nursing background in me, but I wash every piece of milkweed before I feed it to the caterpillars as well. So because I collect milkweed in a number of different places. However, it's not really complicated. it's really pretty easy. All you need is some sort of a container that they can breathe, that they can get the air, and that they can't climb out of, because they do crawl, and they will. I have had a few escapees. And you need a fresh supply of milkweed, and that's about it. I mean, it's not really all that complicated. So I recommend, the two young children next door to me decided that they wanted to start, because they've come over every summer and see my caterpillars. And I said, well, don't get any more than like 10 at the most to start with. So they each had their crate with 5 caterpillars, and it was really kind of cool for them. So start small and see if it's something that appeals to you.
Now, could you talk a little bit about, well, I guess bottom line, why we should care about the fate of the monarch?
Well, first of all, they're God's creatures, and they're beautiful. To me, any species at risk is a symptom of that we're damaging our world. And so if we can care for something like the monarch, for me, it's opened up my eyes to so many other things as well. My gardens, I started targeting my gardens for butterflies, but I have hummingbirds, I have bees, I have all sorts of pollinators. These things, we need pollinators in the world. If we didn't have pollinators, our crops would not pollinate. We would not have seeds. We would not have grains. Everything would die, and the world would cease to exist. So one species of butterfly might not seem all that important, but every species of butterfly is important. And the monarch's so beautiful. Can you imagine a world? I can't imagine a world without something that beautiful.
I always find it, both humbling and exalting to consider how, the fate of human beings, who are considered to be the apex of animal creation, is totally dependent on the smallest of things. When I taught kindergarten and in Sunday school too, when we're talking about the environment, and they had this little slogan with the kids, which was, no worm, no bee, no you, no me. We're all so interlinked. And
yes.
So that's great.
Yes.
So Val's going to be with us next week. So that's September 19th. And there's still time to sign up if you would like to be part of the workshop. You can get a hold of the church office at Lori at the church office, or you can contact me. And we're going to have people there of all ages. So we're going to have things for the kids to do. We're going to have things for the adults to do. We're going to have stories for the kids and resources for the adults, and hands-on materials for anybody who wants to play with them. Because really, who can resist popping out a very beautiful butterfly like that? And so we're really encouraging people to come out. This is going to be our first Sustaining Sunday environmental workshop at St. John's in the newly created Spiritual Park and Community Garden. So we are really hoping that we have a good turnout and that the weather's on our side. And we're really, really grateful to Val for sharing her expertise in this very important endeavor.
And here's hoping too, I have my fingers crossed, because I'm hoping that we will have some butterflies next week as well. I still have about, I think, 30 or 40 chrysalid. So I'm hoping that next week we'll have some butterflies.
Very exciting. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Val, for spending some time with us this afternoon. And we're really looking forward to next week and our Monarch Butterfly Workshop. Thank you.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.